I am joined by an Australian singer-songwriter. His name is Peter Freebairn. Grew up in northern suburbs of Melbourne, and at the age of 11, he became fascinated with the guitar, and so he went into music. So, Peter, thank you for joining me today. Peter, we'll talk about the single that's coming up. It's already been released, and the album that's coming up shortly. But you started in the early 2000s with a band called The Wish. Is that correct?
Uh, yeah. When you say started, it's a long. My career's been a long
Of
journey.
course.
Like
Yeah.
I was a kid, but yeah, we had a bit of radio success in a band called The Wish. Yeah, had a couple of singles, got some decent airplay around the country. With uh, some songs that we'd recorded with one of the guys from Savage Garden that became a producer, Daniel Jones.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Great band, Savage Garden. Yeah.
yeah, and he was a great guy to work with. We went up and lived at his house for about 2 to 3 months and just recorded all these tracks. And that was a real experience, actually. I loved it. It was a good time.
So that was your real first big break. Obviously, you would have had a long career because everybody says overnight success doesn't exist. You would have had all your career you'd been working on, but that was your first break.
Yeah, I guess to get like some substantial radio airplay and things like that, and working with someone of such high quality, on your record, yeah, probably the first time that had happened. I'd done lots of stuff with other people earlier on and been in bands and slogged it out through the pubs and released singles. And there was one time I was in a band called Now Classic in the like a few years before that.
Just before we start talking about the single and the album, do you think the current scenario with social media versus the old days, so let's call it the old days where there wasn't social media, is it easier to get it out there now than it was before, Peter?
Yeah, it is. I mean, things like Spotify, just basically you just go in and yeah, obviously you've got to have a sonically good sounding recording of your stuff, but you just go in and there's interfaces that you put it through to get it onto Spotify and Apple Music and all that. And the reach is like massive now, I think, with all the social media. It's great, with all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and it's definitely getting a lot of exposure for even those who would have found it tough in back in the day to get anyone to even listen or talk to them.
Yeah, that's it. It's a way better world in that way.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think it's hard to make make money out of things like Spotify and everything. It's very little that you get back, but as far as exposure and things like that, it's way better. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. Okay, I got lucky. I got you. We've been playing that on the radio, so it sounds fantastic on the radio. And that is your first track of the upcoming album, which is called Silhouettes and Cigarettes.
yeah. That's our first song off the album that that's actually up on Spotify and all the other platforms. The album will go up on, I think, on the 17th of May is
Mhm.
the release. So that's when the rest of the album will be up there. There'll probably be another single put up there prior to that, but yeah, that's the first one, and then it's just chosen because of its vibe. It's got a good vibe about it. It's sort of a four on the floor kind of a mid-tempo rock song, I saw pop song, but or power pop as some people might call it. But yeah, so in that way, it's a simple sort of track. So it's a kind of a no-brainer for us to sort of release that one first, I think. Radio Vertigo, just a local band here, and we were doing tracks and things, and that's where these guys came from. Joe, she's a beautiful keyboard player. Then Paul Boyle, he's a drummer I've worked with since I was a kid. Lisa Mio is in our band too. She's the bass player, and really good sort of Melbourne royalty for me. Like I love all of them in the band. But so we're in a band, Radio Vertigo, and so they collaborated with me to do some recording on I Got Lucky, I Got You. And the song's basically quite a simple song. It's that thing. I do a lot of surfing, and I drive down the coast from Melbourne to Torquay area or down that west coast, and it's an hour and a half. And there's a lot of time, a lot of downtime where you listen to the music or thinking about music. And as a songwriter, and I just this song kind of evoked the vibe of summer, a long car trip with your girl or your guy, heading for the beach and being at the beach and uh, things like that. And there's some things in it, like the opening lyrics are they found love in a Maserati rolling down to the Mississippi. That's there's no Mississippi here or whatever. But I had one of my daughters used to, when I was driving along with her when she was really young, which was quite ironic. She'd know all the cars. Like she'd go, "Oh, look, Dad, that's a Maserati, or that's a Mazda 4, or that's a whatever." And I think that just implanted that sort of opening sort of line into me, like through her. It's quite funny, really, how things just come out.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And as I said, it's a great track. It sounds great on the radio. And you've got you mentioned also the album's coming out on the 17th of May, which is Silhouettes and Cigarettes.
Yep.
So how does how do you feel about music today versus back in when you were starting out? Do you think it's evolved as far as the creativity side, or do you think a lot of the stuff that happened back in the day, so you got NXS, Angels, and all those guys,
Yep.
still a bit continuing now, or do you think that's sort of a little bit in the gone back in the day now?
They're all great bands. I think those sort of bands will be around forever with their music. Like they've created like legacies and things and inspired so many. I think today it's a lot easier to record as a kind of an artist that's up and coming or unsigned or whatever. Whereas years ago, you'd have to spend a lot of money with your band and go in and record in a studio between 1 o'clock, between 1 a.m. and 5 a.m., like a graveyard shift, and being there for hours. And when you came out, that's what you were finished. That was it. What you had was it, whether you liked it or not, because you just paid like $3,000 or $4,000 to go and do this thing. Whereas now, with the access to home studio quality, the quality you get out of a home studio now is world class. You can really get good sounds and record things, and like all the drums on the new album I recorded in my little room at home, in my little recording facility. So the whole album was recorded there, and that was unheard of back when NXS were recording Kick or something like that. That technology just wasn't there.
Yeah, I mean the technology is sort of advanced leaps and bounds. Things you can do, and also the editing applications and software that is available to really fine tune something.
Look, there's a thing called auto tune that I actually do not use auto tune on my voice, which basically means, people that aren't familiar, it's just a thing that you sing your song, you record it, but then you can put a plug-in in, and it, if you've sung it slightly flat or out of pitch, it just fixes it for you. But so you've certainly got all that at your fingertips. But I sort of, even though there's all this technology, I still try to keep it more grassroots sort of vibe. Like, I'd rather sing the song 10 times and get a good vocal take than just put it together with auto tune and make it sound good. But so it's a bit of both. It's great to have all the technology, but I still like recording in a traditional way, just to get that sound like that. I think you can get more of an organic sort of retro sound by doing it that way rather than a clinical vibe.
Yeah, more authentic as well. I think
Yeah.
the music goers who are really tuned in, they'll know the difference. So
Yeah, yes, hopefully, yeah.
yeah. So Peter, is there a tour coming up for this body of work for you guys?
Well, we've got as I said before, May 17 is the release on all the platforms of Silhouettes and Cigarettes, and the day after, which is the Saturday the 18th, we're at a pub in Melbourne, a great little venue called the Wesleyan Hotel. And that's going to be our showcase of the album, which we've already played the album live, but so we'll sort of kick it off then, and then we'll hook up some more shows after that one. But we're just focusing towards that at the minute. And funny thing about that, which just last night on the news I heard that so where the Wesleyan is, it's in High Street, Northcote, if anyone's familiar.
Yep.
And that little strip where Wesleyan is, Northcote Social Club, the Peacock Hotel, it's just been named the coolest street in the world.
That. Yeah, I saw that.
And I said to my wife, I said, how great is this? Where doing our showcase gig at the coolest street in the world. That's
Yeah,
quite fun.
yeah, I
Yeah.
did see that, and yeah, and considering that sort of area was there was a lot of multicultural and different cultures that grew up in that area,
Oh,
and it's great to see that it's been recognised and in that way.
well, my father and my mother, but my father especially, he grew up. There's a street, the one of the venues I mentioned, the Northcote Social Club. He grew up in Northcote, and that was on his street. Ran down that was his local pub that he drank at when he was 18, and
Wow.
yeah, he passed away at 84.
Hmm.
But so in that area has just been, it's gone through so much of a change, and to where it was sort of more of a poverty area
Yep.
back when he was there. A lot of, well, not poverty, but just a lot of struggling, just
Working
normal
class.
working
Yeah.
class, yeah,
Yeah.
sort of vibe. But now it's just become this great area. It's really nice there. It's a good area now for
Yeah.
sure.
Beautiful area. And with the as you said, there's not much money in the Spotify world these days. Like the old days, a studio, you know, you get a record label, as you know, and you get a cut of how many singles were sold or albums. And now it's a little bit different. It's hard to make money, like I said. So touring is probably going to be the best way to make money on the music scene.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, which is great, and it's like I said before with Paul, Joe, and Lisa. I'm blessed with a really good band. So, and we've all done lots of gigs over the years, and yeah, so it's a solid outfit. So we're looking forward to going out and doing some shows, and yeah, and hopefully make a bit of coin along the way doing that. Which that's you got to be in it for funny music these days. If you're in it for the money, then you're in it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
It's just not that sort of a, you know, there is obviously it's a high risk, high gain industry, and there's lots of money to be made in music. If you get a song on a movie, which we're sort of hoping for, or
Hmm.
just song placements and things like that. But it basically just got to enjoy the ride and enjoy gig to gig and have fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Love what you do. That's the key. And if obviously to get to listen to your music, get on the Spotify's or all the Apples, all the platforms,
Yeah,
and of
all
course
platforms.
listen to the radio stations and particularly community ones. But to find out more about you guys, you have a web page as well, Pete, or where can they find out more about
Yeah,
the
so
work you're doing?
Instagram, so Peter Freebairn Music. If you just type that into the internet, you should come up with the Facebook and Instagram
Hmm.
uh, pages. So, and we're posting on that all the time with updates and releases of singles and just general stuff of me changing strings on my guitar or something, or just
Hmm.
something boring like that. Whatever. There's lots of content that continues to flow up there. So certainly keep up to date with everything that's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, our listeners can stay tuned with us here. We'll have the tracks when they're released. So you said there might be a new track coming out soon. Does it roughly got timing on that or not yet?
Uh, the timing's a funny thing. I was talking to the people that are helping me release the stuff the other day, and so I got lucky, I got you out at the minute, and it's really just we see how far this song goes with us before we've got another song ready to go, but the timing wise will just depend what happens with this first single
Hmm.
before we release the second single pretty much. So and it's going great. So on that, I really don't know when we're going to release the second single, to be honest, in that way. But it'll happen. But it's just about uh, I got lucky. I got yous going so well. We'll just see how we go with that at the minute, I think.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, as soon as it comes out and the album comes out, we'll definitely be playing it on the radio. So, Peter, once again, so thank you so much for joining me today here on the program. Hopefully, we can chat again moving forward in the future. Maybe talk about if you come up to Sydney or when the album gets released in May. Maybe we can have another chat then. But I really appreciate you coming on and taking the time to have a chat.
Thanks, Biagio. I really appreciate your time as well. It's been great fun. So yeah, and hopefully we can get up to Sydney soon, and it'd be good to shake hands
Absolutely.
and
Nothing like
best life.
face to face is the best. So, all right, Peter, you have a great day and a great weekend, and all the best with the new album and the music. And we'll talk again soon.
Thanks again. Bye bye.
Thank you.